Hello and welcome to this edition of City Hall Insider. I'm Jim Marshall of the New Bedford Cable Network, and today we are going to talk summer and summer activities here in the city of New Bedford. Mary Rapoza, the Director of Park, Recreation, and Beaches, joins us for this half. Then Amy Desrosiers from Tourism and Marketing will join us for the second half. Mary, thanks for coming in. Good to see you again.
Jim. Good to see you too.
New Bedford and its park and beaches in the summertime, those 3 words or 4 words if you make New Bedford 2 go together hand in hand. It's a busy time in the season for you and lots of things going on.
It's true. We are so lucky. We have some really beautiful major parks in the city. You know, we have Buttonwood, they have the zoo, there's a great playground. We also have Brooklawn with the Ricketts Nature Center, the trails, splash pad. We have Noah's Playground down at Marine Park, which is popular year-round. And you know, we're lucky we have splash pads throughout the city and parks, and families really love to take advantage of those once the weather starts getting warm. And then of course we have our beaches, which are a great attraction in the summer, and we have all our lifeguards are starting weekends, and soon we'll be full 7 days a week beginning on June 24th, I believe it is.
How, you know, when you and I have talked too, New Bedford's kind of unique with all the amenities it offers compared to other communities of similar size.
That's true. We are really lucky to have the beautiful beaches that we have. And, you know, we've been really consciously trying to create more ways for residents to get down to the waterfront and to engage with our beautiful resource, the Buzzards Bay. This summer, started last summer, but this summer we're going to be partnering with Community Boating once more. They're running the Blue Lane rentals at West Beach. So you can go down to West Beach and rent a kayak, you can rent stand-up paddle boards and take them out onto Clark's Cove, which is a perfect place for that type of you know, water activity. And so we're really excited about that this summer, and you know, we just have some terrific amenities. We're also going to be doing programming in the parks again this summer.
Right, there's a lot. And the other thing I want to mention too, and we'll get into it, but you're going to kick off also the food in the park too, lunch and dinner.
Correct.
A little later once school gets out, but we'll talk about that in a second. I'm curious, do you know how busy, I guess, the parks are? Do you actually get, I don't want to say numbers, but do you have an idea?
So, you know, that's something we just recently started doing.
Yeah.
We had a 2 years ago, we started a Park Ambassador program. And one of the things that the Park Ambassadors do is that they do point-in-time counts. So when they're you know, stationed in a park, they're there to provide information to the public, to be our eyes in the park so that they can identify concerns that we should be aware of. But they also do a point-in-time count. So for 5 minutes at some point during their shift, they stop somewhere in the park and they say, you know, I'm at the playground, it's this time, and this is how many people are here. So we're just starting to collect that data.
Yeah, and I would assume, like, for the city, it's going to be a huge number just at any given time. The splash pads have been a huge success, and you've redone them over the years as well.
Yes, yeah, so most of them have been upgraded, including last year we just did, Monty's Park got upgraded, but Harrington, Brooklawn, you know, there are some really very nice, very new splash pads, and as you said, they're very popular.
And I mean, it's just a great opportunity for folks to cool off. Really, at any point, I mean, you've got them in the north end, and all the way down to, I guess Monty would be the farthest south one, right?
I think that's right. There was also one over at off Route 18 at the Ben Rose Field, and then there's you know, there's one at Ashley Park. They're really all over the city.
Right.
They really are.
And that's the one thing about the parks. I mean, the city is, since I've been here, and I mean, there's been a lot of more open space provided now for city residents too.
That's correct.
For activities.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are part of a national initiative called 10-Minute Walk to Parks. And every year they analyze the data for open space in the city, and we are actually above average in the amount of open space per resident, and also proximity of open space to residents. So yeah, we're in really good shape. We are.
And the good thing, I know that it wasn't that long ago, maybe a year or two, like the tennis courts are finished. So the city has done a lot to make sure that the parks are up to date, if you will. with the facilities as
Right.
much as they can.
Yep. So we did. We redid the tennis courts at Buttonwood. We added some pickleball lines to those as well, and
Which is crazy. I don't get it, but people talk about it and are participating in
oh
it.
yeah, pickleball is huge. We actually ran a pickleball clinics and pickleball league at the Andre McCoy Rec Center during the winter. We actually lined some our basketball court so we could run some pickleball in there during the winter, and again, it's popular. People love it. We are going to be redoing the tennis courts at Hazelwood and Brooklawn probably this summer. So there'll be additional tennis courts and pickleball courts coming online. And then we'll be opening the bowling and croquet greens at the end of this month. So beginning of July, the bowling green and croquet courts will be available for people to get permits to get out on there so that they can start learning how to lawn bowl or doing some bocce or playing croquet.
It must be interesting from your standpoint, because I know you go out and check other communities and stuff, but the diversity of the programs that you have, you must be excited about that. And it keeps changing too.
It does. And partly it changes because we want to offer what folks are interested in. And the diversity of the programming, we're just very lucky. I have great staff, and all of our programming is grant funded. So, they write the grants, they manage the programs, they speak to the community to see, what folks are interested in. And sometimes it's things you never thought of, like lawn bowling. But we continue to get calls almost daily now from folks asking, how do I get hooked up with a club for lawn bowling? So, yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun.
And the one thing too, I know, especially in the summertime, is you do offer, especially for kids, programs outside for them to participate in, whatever it may be. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So once again, this year we'll be offering the summer food program, which is the free lunch program in the parks. The city's been offering that since the 1960s, so that's a program we've been doing for a long time. This year we're doing things a little bit differently, and it is really to address a funding concern, because that program is grant funded. That grant funding has not gone up for many years. So unfortunately, that means that we have to shrink the program because our wages continue to go up. So, but this year we've, I think, come up with a really creative solution. So we're going to be doing summer lunch in the four major parks every single day. So Monday through Friday, 11 to 2, we'll be in the parks with free lunches and programming. And then this year we've outfitted what we're calling our, our rec and relaxation van. So the van will be outfitted with recreational equipment and free lunches, and then every day that van is going to go to 2 additional park sites. And that schedule is posted on our website so folks can figure out where we are on Mondays and Tuesdays and the rest of the week. And so I think that's actually going to be a fun way, something a little different, and a fun way for us to get to, lots of parks during the week.
Talk about staffing, because you and I have talked about it, just looking for people to work over the summer for the city. There's different opportunities there for many folks, and it's a great opportunity for college kids, young people to get jobs and get a start.
It really is, and so we employ a lot of high school students, a lot of college students. We also employ some New Bedford Public Schools staff who aren't employed during the summer, like the paraprofessionals, for instance. And so we've always had a really good mix, and we do have a pretty good rate of people coming back to us year after year, although we have seen the number of applicants drop pretty significantly over the past 5 years.
I'm just curious. I mean, there's a lot of job openings, and they're outside.
They're outside. They're playing mostly. You get to play at work. So so I'm not sure if it's because there's more opportunities. If we do start folks for most positions at minimum wage, although we have been very conscientious about thinking about what's a fair wage for some of our returning employees and some of the jobs with more responsibility, the monitors and supervisors. And
the summer program over at the I was going to say
Fort
Kennedy.
Taber?
Fort Tabor.
Yeah, Kennedy Summer Day Program is a really popular program that is running again this year, and we still do have vacancies. So if there's families out there looking for, an all-day program, week-long, Monday through Friday for their kids, and that's for ages 5 to 14. and the kids love it.
That
they have so much fun.
That programs, I give the council. I mean, right when I come in the morning here, they are going 100 miles an hour right at the start.
Yep.
Kids love it though.
Oh yeah, they have so much fun. They're in the park. They get to go to the beach, and they have lots of opportunities to try new things because they get to go on field trips. They go kayaking. They just have so much fun.
One of the things you've emphasized, and I know we did a PSA last year about it, but you talk about safety at the beaches too.
Yes.
Why don't you just touch on that for folks? I mean, you've got to be responsible when you go to the beaches.
Yeah, absolutely. And our beaches, we're not on a pond. We're on, on one side we're on a major shipping lane, and on the other side we're in Clark's Cove, which is generally very calm, but still, it's connected to the ocean, so things can be unpredictable. So we have very great lifeguarding staff, and the lifeguards, we've got a full complement of lifeguards. We've worked with the New Bedford High School swim team over the years, and so we have a terrific relationship, and that's one area where we have just great staff. And good thing, because they have a lot of responsibility, They
come back too every year.
And they come back every year.
Yeah.
Yep, they do. And safety is utmost, obviously, everywhere, but at the beach for sure. And so, some of the lifeguards are very, conscientious about making sure that people are observing the safety protocol, and we just want to make sure that all our kids and families at the beach are going to have a safe and fun time. And we are offering swimming lessons again. So we've been offering swimming lessons, I think, 9 years now, and those are at East Beach. They're free. They're for children, and they're once a week. I think they're actually maybe twice a week this year. I think we're trying to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, but again, all of that program information is on our website.
I was surprised when we talked about that last year, and some of the teachers were saying it's amazing in New Bedford how many kids or people don't know how to swim.
That's true.
When the beaches are here. I found that interesting.
Yeah.
You would just think that you got the beaches, but that's not the case.
No, it's true. And honestly, I grew up in the area and I learned to swim. The lifeguards taught me at the beach, so that's where my kids all took their first swimming lessons. And it's a great opportunity for, families to have free access to swimming lessons right at the beach with the lifeguards. And it helps kids to become comfortable in the water and to get the basics so that they're not in a position where they can't protect themselves in the water.
And one thing I know you emphasized last year, and you kind of touched upon it now, there's a difference between swimming in somebody's pool versus swimming in the ocean.
Right.
Or even a pond.
Right, exactly. So one of the rules that we have at the beach that we often get questioned about is there's no flotation devices allowed. So if you're, a young person who doesn't know how to swim and you're in swimmies or a floaty thing, if there's not an adult with you right there, if you're in a pool and you get sent across to the other side of the pool, well, that's one thing. Or even in a pond, if you get blown out across, you're going to end up on the other shore. If you get blown out into the shipping lanes on East Beach, you're in much more trouble than if you were in a pool. And, the lifeguards can certainly manage that type of a situation, but if they had to, put out the board, they'd probably have to put out their board or their kayak to go out and rescue someone who was caught in a current and going out to sea. And so that takes lifeguards off the beach, puts other swimmers at risk. So we do not allow flotation devices.
For people who want information, how can they find it and where should they go?
Okay, so we have we're on social media. So we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page. And that's New Bedford Parks, Recreation and Beaches. We have the city website, which is the City of New Bedford, newbedford-ma.gov, and then you can go to the Parks and Rec drop-down and get more information. And then we have all our programs and all our permitting and registration documents are on our website, www.nbprb.com. And there you can find the swimming lessons, you can find out more about Kennedy Summer Day, about the summer food program.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on,
It's good seeing you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
inviting
in.
me. My pleasure.
All right. That's going to do it for this segment. We'll be right back with Amy Desrosiers in just a moment here on City Hall Insider.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. but I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Hello, welcome back to City Hall Insider. I'm Jim Marshall of the New Bedford Cable Network, and joining us for this segment, Amy Desrosiers. I want to make sure I get it right. Marketing Manager, Tourism and Marketing, Destination New Bedford.
Correct.
Is that all on your business card too?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a mouthful.
It is. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Talk a little bit about what your job is and what you do, because I don't think people, obviously this is our first time meeting on camera, but tell for folks who don't know who you are and what you do, give them a little background there.
Well, so Jim, my job, I'm very fortunate because I get to promote all of the things that are happening in New Bedford, the city itself, you know, from all the shops to the burgeoning dining scene, the arts and culture scene, which is top notch, you know, one of the best in the country, and then all the events that happen throughout the year. So I just promote and market those, and yeah, it's
And the good thing for you, it's really 12 months of the year. I mean, there is something happening in the city all the time.
Yeah, there's events, you know, every season. So hoping to highlight that on the website so people can see what goes on in the winter.
I was curious when we were in the office talking, when you're at different places with your colleagues from different communities, it's like they don't know about New Bedford in some cases, in many cases, I guess. It must be gratifying actually saying, hey, you know, we got a lot to offer.
Absolutely, and I think even if you are familiar with the city, sometimes people tend to hang out in their normal zones. You know, downtown has a lot of the same people going to the same things all the time, but if you know, the south end and the north end also have a lot of events and different things happening as well.
Talk to me for a sec about how important like the tourism economy is for the city, just in general for business. How important is that economy to the city businesses, you know, just the city in general?
Very, very important, especially I think after the last couple of years. We're looking at a lot of recovery. So a lot of the programming that's happening is going to be happening outdoors in the business districts, hopefully bringing people in and bringing them to dine and eat and shop while they're here. Also just, you know, highlighting the different places that they might not have already seen throughout the city.
Did the marketing strategy that you implied, did that change or whatever? Because in a sense, you're coming out of COVID, you know, for 2 years. And I know the summer's been different during COVID, but this is really the first summer I think that things are a little different because things are back. Did your marketing strategy have to change, or where you marketed?
Sure, a little bit, especially you know, with all the gas prices and, you know, the price of tickets for planes right now. We're looking at a little bit more of kind of focusing on the regional tourism. Of course, we want to spread out nationally and internationally as well, but I think that there's going to be a heavy focus for almost every different tourist group throughout the country on the regional.
And when you're talking about regional, like, so where are you looking at? Is it just Bristol County? Is it just Massachusetts, or, you know, Rhode Island or something like that? Like, what are we targeting?
I would say New England. All of New England, of course, focusing on Bristol County, you know, Providence, we're so close by, Providence and Boston, and even close to New York City. But I do think that throughout New England.
And the traditional daycation is what really, you were saying off camera before, that's really what you're looking at to get people. Maybe if they stay overnight too, that's great, but you want to get them down here for the day.
I think that's the important first step, and I think for a lot of people that aren't familiar with the city, having that first experience, they realize, wow, there's so much else that I'd like to see. I planned on doing A, B, C, D, and then there's all of these other things that I didn't even know happened in the city.
It must be fun from your perspective, because we're not a typical gateway city. I mean, as Mary was here before, you do have the beaches. I mean, the water really, at least in my opinion, is what separates New Bedford from a lot of its sister gateway cities.
Absolutely.
From a tourism and marketing standpoint.
I think that there is just so much to offer, and I think that, you know, there's been such a heavy focus on the cultural aspects of the city, and you can start with whaling, but there's so many other different cultural groups throughout the city, and I think that that shines in the south end and the north end, and we hope to promote that a little bit more throughout the year.
What are the things that personally, because I know you said obviously you grew up here. What are the things that has surprised you as you've gone about the job that maybe you didn't know just about the city and some of the things that could lure people in?
So I knew a little bit about our involvement in the Underground Railroad, but I didn't realize how dynamic that was. And that's going to be a huge focus throughout this summer. There's going to be the official opening of Abolition Row Park, as well as a lot of programming highlighting that, as well as the abolitionism in this history in the city.
I'm curious too. You kind of touched upon it. So inflation is very difficult right now, and it's going up. Gas prices, you mentioned, are going up. It's important, obviously, for the businesses here. Obviously, I know prices are going up, but how does that impact what you're doing in trying to get people here? It's got to be a tough game, but again, the vacations are what people are going to be able to afford.
That's correct. It is going to impact people traveling further distances, I think. But the good thing is, in New Bedford, there's a lot you can do that's free. A lot of our events throughout the summer are going to be free events. And the things that dining and shopping in the city are going to be a lot cheaper than in a lot of other places.
Do you find that businesses are ready for the summer too, or are they still, I mean, nationally you hear the trend that they're looking for workers and stuff, but I know obviously the city does have, as you said, a really good restaurant scene. Do you find the businesses right now, because I would imagine this is a big summer for them after a couple of years of being sort of held back, are they ready for it?
I mean, I think just like everywhere else, there is obviously a staffing shortage, but I've only seen enthusiasm from the businesses for everything happening this summer. We have a lot of events that are happening directly in front of businesses, like our Summer Sound series, which is a series of concerts that are going to be block parties. And we've had a lot of enthusiasm about that. So as much as I think that everyone is struggling to find help, I think that the people that are there are really working hard to make sure that we put our best foot forward this summer and really give people a great experience. And
one of the things too, I mean, there's sort of two different things from the summer aspect too that I wanted to touch on. One is there's destinations, the Whaling Museum and stuff, and I would assume those are marketing things that you do year round.
Absolutely.
And they're all, as far as I know, those destinations are open this year, right?
Yep, absolutely. Everything's pretty much reopened. We have a bunch of festivals and events that are returning after 2 years, so there's going to be a lot of excitement surrounding that. So even though there is a little bit of difficulty with recovery, I think that this summer is just going to show how resilient New Bedford really is.
And the National Park draws a lot as well, or at least it seems to.
Absolutely. They have a lot of walking tours. They just reopened their visitor center. They put a lot of work into that, and it looks incredible.
And the one thing that I think is interesting too is you were talking about it and you don't really think about it, but a lot of the events and things that go on are free, the festivals. I mean, there's almost, well, there used to be pre-COVID, I used to argue there was a festival every weekend in the city somewhere. So the numbers are going up, I'm assuming, this year.
Absolutely.
But the free things are what draw people in too.
Absolutely, and I think that it's a great offering for people because, just as much as businesses and organizations are suffering, so are the individual and the traveler, and there is this really big energy from people to get out and do things. So I think it's excellent that we're being able to put on free programming and more affordable programming for people.
Is that something that draws people, though? I mean, from the marketing standpoint?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, again, sets New Bedford apart from other communities because you can offer some of those free events, which is good. Talk about events, and I know when we were talking before, I mean, obviously, the feast is back on. Some of the other things that, because I don't know them that they're on yet, but roll off a couple of them, I guess, that are coming back that haven't been in place the last couple of years.
So you mentioned the feast, so that's coming back this year after 2 years. The New Bedford Folk Festival is going to be celebrating its 25th year. The Cape Verdean Recognition Week is happening, as well as their parade on July 2nd. We have a lot of new events as well. There's going to be Riverside Park is going to be activated quite a bit. They have the Patio de Comida, which is offering all kinds of different Spanish foods and programming, as well as Riverside Beats, which is a music program that's very inclusive and free as well. There's going to be a lot of different art installations happening throughout the city. The Massachusetts Design, Art, and Technology Group, DATMA, is doing their 4th year of programming.
Yeah, they've always done something in the summer, yeah.
So there'll be exhibitions throughout the city, as well as in the Star Store in New Bedford. The Seaport Art Walk is kicking off this year. Buy Black NB is doing a bunch of pop-up markets, including their Juneteenth at Roach Jones Stuff House. Like I said, the Summer Sound Series is going to be happening as block parties this year. We have the 4th of July fireworks.
Oh, the fireworks, that's good, yeah.
That's going to be on that Monday. So there's a lot happening, and I know I'm forgetting a lot.
Right. The Z's back, too, they're going to have their shows certainly over the summer.
Absolutely. There's always something happening at the Zeiterion almost every day of the week.
And for the businesses downtown, I know that obviously the outdoor dining was such a huge success last year, and I believe that's back too.
That's going to be back and probably even more expanded than before.
Oh, really?
And I think that was such an incredible thing that the city helped happen. Restaurants ended up net positive during COVID in New Bedford, which is, you don't see that trend across the country.
And as the mayor was saying in the state of the city, I mean, the city opened more restaurants than they lost, which is bucked the trend, really.
Absolutely.
So what do you hear from, obviously you gather information from what people want, but what are you hearing from businesses? What are they looking for?
I think...
Other than people.
Well, people is a huge part. So I think, support for marketing and trying to grow their following. So I know that DMB Inc. has been doing Instagram takeovers with businesses to help them gain followers, and I think that that's been very successful, as well as things like they put on their shop small crawl and have all kinds of programming, and you're seeing a lot more businesses actually putting on pop-ups and programming and working together, and I think that that's something the city does really well, is co-creation and cooperation, and so I think that that's going to really, help those places this year.
And as you mentioned, it's not just downtown. You're talking citywide. Mm-hmm. In the North End, South End, and all that. Yeah,
and the Kilburn Mill has, they have events as well, but they also have a ton of shops in that place and art studios.
The art community, and my colleague Dana DeBarros, who does his New Bedford Creative Show, will say, I mean, the art community really separates New Bedford too from a lot of other communities.
I mean, I might be biased, but I think that we have one of the best art communities of any city in the United States.
But that recognition, is it there?
Absolutely.
Community, I mean, other people know that and other places know that? There's
been a lot of really huge grants and support coming from things like the Barr Foundation and Mass Development, and we've gotten these huge TDI grants. New Bedford Creative is putting on a ton of different programs by funding grants for different art groups. Third Eye Youth Unlimited Empowerment Group puts on a lot of different things for programming for children, and I think it really shows through the support and just the enthusiasm that everyone has. So it's not just these really well-funded artists. We have these new artists,
the hometown artists.
Hometown artists. Yeah. We usher in new artists and we give them a place to express themselves.
Got about 30 seconds left. You in your role right now, I mean, you're already past summer from my understanding how it works. I mean, You're looking to market right now for what, winter or fall and winter?
Still through, we'll throughout the summer be focusing on things, but yeah, we'll have to start thinking about fall and winter soon.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that we can even put on more programming this winter.
You're a busy person. Busy. It's great seeing you. Thanks for coming in.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
Alrighty. That's going to do it for this edition of City Hall Insider. I'm Jim Marshall of the New Bedford Cable Network. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.